Hey everybody, it's ShadowStar here for more Doctor Who reviews. This time, it's part 6 of the Flux, the Vanquishers, the finale of this utterly messy season. On the one hand, this is somehow the best finale Jodie Whittaker has had. Somehow? I mean, it's better than The Timeless Children and the Battle of whatever the hell happened in Series 11. So, that's the first positive point of this episode. But this episode was, like its season, messy and filled with so many things. Like, sure, we had a lot of cool things and a lot of cool characters, but, yeah, we have a lot of cool characters, but they all feel so small. It's like, because they all barely got any screen time. It's like, we got Kate Stewart here, and cool, she had a few cool interactions with the Doctor and the characters, but it felt like she was just kind of there. We were all so excited for her to come back, and it's like, what, she had a couple good lines this episode and last episode, but otherwise, she barely did anything with the plot. She was mostly just chasing around that one guy in the tunnels. What was the point of her? We've got the Sontarans who, surprisingly, the Sontarans felt more like the villains in this than Swarm and Azure, the people who created the Flux. The Sontarans felt more like our actual season villains. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Sontarans are at least a more engaging villain. I enjoy the Sontarans in this episode. The Sontarans are actually enjoyable villains, unlike Swarm and Azure, who... oh, they're gone. See ya. That was it. Seriously, that just felt so underwhelming. It's like, they were supposed to be our villains, but Swarm and Azure felt like an afterthought. We kept spending all this time on the other plots, which, at first I thought, I don't want to see these other plots. We got to see Swarm and Azure and their interesting stuff. Then halfway through, I'm like, no, this is more interesting. Screw Swarm and Azure. And then by the end of the episode, they're just wiped out by some godly being on Atropos and whatever the hell that was, and then it prophesizes the Doctor's death and says no regeneration. It says your time is near, which makes sense because we know we've got 3 specials, but her time can't be near because we know there's going to be a regeneration. Well, whatever, we'll worry about that another day. You've got the 1800s man who built the tunnels. He builds the tunnels, he's in this episode for like 2 minutes, and then he's gone. Seriously, all these characters just here. We've got Claire, who I suppose she joins back up with Jericho and gets to have a few good scenes, and then she's gone. It's like all these people, and what do they contribute? Then the highlight of the episode was having 3 doctors. Honestly, seeing the Doctor interact with herself was actually enjoyable. It's a little odd. It's like, it feels a bit like in Journey's End when you've got 2 doctors, except this felt more kind of enjoyable, whereas the 2 doctors in Journey's End just felt like a plot point. I actually enjoyed the Doctor interacting with herself in this episode. That was, to me, one of the highlights of this episode. Seeing her get to interact with herself, or seeing the companions get to interact with multiple doctors, that was at least enjoyable, and led to some good comedy and good little lines here and there. Vinder finds Diane, as we saw in last episode. They escape, then they don't escape, then the Doctor just finds them, and then that's it. The Doctor, and then that means, oh, Belle and Vinder have been saved. Oh, and for all you people with your fan theories, Belle and Vinder's baby is meaningless. Belle and Vinder, while enjoyable characters, do almost nothing in this episode, so what was the point of them either? All these things, and most of them felt like detached things which barely contributed to the plot. You put way too much stuff in this season. There's only 6 episodes, and you just crammed a million things in the season, and then we're like, oops, I guess I've got to sweep half of them under the rug. We all knew this would be a just mess of a finale when you've got this much stuff to wrap up. Like, even if you were enjoying the build-up, the problem with a lot of these episodes is the build-up can be as good as it wants, but if the finale can't do it, then the finale just can't do it. And that's always been the case for a lot of finales. that happens. That's not just a Chibnall complaint. Even Moffat had trouble sticking the landing with certain finales. Everything just kind of has to rush its wrapping up because it's like, well, we've got all these things and now let's wrap them up. Just quickly up, we've defeated the Flux, and it's like, alright, I kind of get how they defeated the Flux, that makes sense. But then it's like, you didn't turn back time. The Flux still, like, erased a massive piece of the universe, didn't it? Isn't there still now a huge gaping hole? Think of all the stuff that was destroyed. This is just a mess. It's like, guys, it's not a happy ending. There's still lots of stuff destroyed by the Flux. Did we forget that? And then we've got that Grand Serpent guy who was like, oh, I'm in charge of the Sontarans. I'm in charge of UNIT. And now we've just banished him to a rock in space. It's like, again, just sweep our villains under the rug like they didn't even matter. You know, he seemed like a cool character. And he's gone. All the best characters just wasted. I will admit, I am glad they kind of gave us a consequence and made one of the characters we enjoyed die with Jericho. And such a shame too, because Jericho was a character we actually all enjoyed. We were all so glad he stuck around after episode 4. He was here in 5, and then he died. But I mean, I enjoyed his going out scene. That was a good scene for him. Like I said, all the characters are good characters. It's just they kind of felt wasted. But I am glad they gave Jericho a good scene. And they gave Carvinister good stuff too. Like, I mean, when we find out that all the other Lupari have been killed, then we suddenly get this character development for him. And you feel like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with him, especially since the last scene we see of him is him with Vinder. I smell people trying to wish there was a spin-off. Oh, well, Doctor Who doesn't do spin-offs. But still, I enjoyed that character for development, but when there's 50,000 things in an episode, everyone gets like 5 seconds of a cool scene and then just stand around in the background and fill out the TARDIS. Also, whatever happened to the TARDIS dying? We saw that in, like, the first episode. My theory is it'll play into the last 3 episodes, since I guess most of the stuff people were saying, oh, they're going to leave stuff for the 3 specials, but it seems nothing was left for the 3 specials. Swarm and Azure are gone. Vinder are supposedly gone, although they could show up again. Yeah. Tecteun is gone. The Flux is stopped. The New Year's episode is once again a Dalek episode. What are they going to do this time? Oh well, all the New Year's episodes have actually been enjoyable. It's like, what are they going to do for these last 3 specials? Oh, and the Doctor still has the fob watch containing her memories. She hasn't unlocked it, despite what was seen in the trailer. She's just storing it in the TARDIS, leaving it a mystery. I wonder what will happen. Seriously, 3 specials to go. Will anything come with her mysterious memories? We've got to do something. I'm really curious how these last 3 specials are going to go. New Year's episodes will probably feel like another Dalek episode, but then you've got 2 specials, one of which is the regeneration. We'll have to worry about that next year, but yeah, this finale, if you can just wrap it up in one way, it's lots of cool characters with lots of cool scenes, but not much else. I'm going to give it a 7.5, a miscellaneous finale. Still, best finale Jodie Whittaker has had, although that's not saying much because her finales have either been boring as hell or pissing off the fan base. And this is just kind of a mess with everything. Lots of good characters, lots of cool scenes, but everyone just felt wasted because there were so many things to handle and the villains were just thrown aside. So, I'll give it a 7.5, and that'll be that. Anyway, I have still been so glad to have Doctor Who back. It's been so fun to have it back. I've missed talking about it, I've missed doing reviews. Doing these reviews have been fun, and it's been fun to see people talking online through all the positive and negative. But anyway, I will see you next year for more Doctor Who reviews and other things as well. See you next time, guys.